At that time, nearly 50 or 60 Christians were killed in the region, even though they'd not done anything wrong. No one was punished for the murders or even identified.
Turkey's Christian community now numbers around 80,000, compared with the country's 75 million Muslims.
It has been called by some the Third World War already in our midst, a global conflict led by those who will go to any lengths to impose their will on every man, woman, and child. And in some places around the globe, they are winning. Let's welcome to MidPoint. He's a radio host, television talker, and veteran columnist in Canada. Also a noted author with his latest, Hatred, Islam's War on Christianity, pointing to Christians as the most persecuted, identifiable group on earth. Michael Coren joins us today. Michael, thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure, really.
Michael, when we look at what's happening right now in Aleppo, tens of thousands of Christians have fled Syria's second city, but many are still determined to hold out no matter that the jihadists are there right now and threatening them with everything from dismemberment to all sorts of torture. Is that, at this point, ground zero of the absolute frightening war on Christians and what people need to take into account as a real example of how bad it is?
It's a good question. I mean, to a degree it is, but the war on Christians, and by the way, anyone who denies this, shame on them, because this is absolutely real, it's tangible, it's happening. I mean, it has many aspects to it. In Syria and to a degree Iraq, you see the most violent and acute persecution taking place. But in other countries, it takes a different form. In Pakistan, for example, while the numbers aren't the same and the community is small, in Pakistan just a couple of weeks ago, there were a Christian couple. They were accused of defacing a copy of the Quran. All they had done, and even if they had, so what? I mean, it's up to them how they behave. They were moving a house, and some of the stuff they put outside of the house included a copy of the Quran. They were unaware of it. First of all, their legs were broken, so they couldn't run away. Then they were beaten to death. Then their bodies were burnt beyond recognition. In Pakistan, as we speak, there is a woman in a cell waiting to be hanged for the crime of blasphemy. She didn't do anything wrong at all, even if she had blasphemed. That's her right in a free society. But she'd argued with a Muslim woman over water and sharing water at a well. She probably won't be executed because the Pakistani government, and this is a government at work here, is frightened of North America taking away its funding. They'll release her to the mob and she'll be lynched. So different countries, different ground ones, if you like. In Egypt, the Coptic Christians, big, maybe 15% of the population, daily grind of persecution. In northern Nigeria is 54% Christian, it's majority Christian, but in northern Nigeria, the 8 or 9 states that impose Sharia law, you have thousands who've been massacred and horribly wounded. And I mean, when we hear about attacks on churches, for example, and you hear maybe 50 people killed, 200 wounded, remember the wounded often will never live normal lives again. So we're speaking of millions of people, and every 3 minutes, it sounds rather banal, but every 3 minutes a Christian is physically attacked for their faith, generally in the Muslim world. And let's be specific here.
Well, let me get to that. Hold on 1 minute. Let me get to that because we're in a very short segment here. I only have a minute left, and trust me, we're going to have you back again to discuss this more in depth. But about the minute we have left here, has Islam taken the persecution of Christians farther than anybody else around the world today?
Yes, excellent question. It has. It occurs in communist countries, but China has no future. We know that. North Korea is moribund. It has occurred in India, but it's not part of Hindu culture. The government stops it. It's in the Islamic world, whether it's Africa, Asia, the Middle East, wherever Islam is a majority, with 1 or 2 exceptions, there's horrible persecution of minorities, and in particular Christians.
Is this just a disease at this point that there's no cure for because it continues to grow exponentially in every country we see it?
Can't see any cure right now. I wish I could sit here and say to you it's going to be okay, but that would be dishonest. It's getting worse and not better, and the world is in denial. The world refuses to say it's happening. We even have alliances, I'm speaking of Canada, the US, the UK, with countries that do much of the persecuting.
US and everybody need to be a little less PC in dealing with this?
Oh, pray for that, please, because I'm not looking for armed intervention or invasion, but stop giving money to Pakistan, break the alliance with Saudi Arabia, stop playing games about supporting those trying to bring down President Assad. He's not my ally. I mean, he's a despot, but for goodness sake, the alternative to someone like Assad, it's not liberal democracy, it's Islamist terror. And I do not understand what has happened to foreign policy, not just Obama, but President Bush as well.
We have opened up quite a Pandora's box here. We're going to come back again. The book is Hatred, Islam's War on Christianity. Michael Coren is the author. Michael, thank you so much. I look forward to the next time we gather.
Anytime, my friend. Thank you so much.
And MidPoint will continue.